Well, hello everybody, welcome back to Bromward News. I hope you enjoyed the birds, the weather, being outdoors. I feel a bit strange putting on makeup and proper pants. I guess working from home does have its advantages. On this episode, I want to talk to you about suet feeding. A lot of people think that they should feed birds suet in the winter when it's really cold, but I actually encourage everyone to have a suet feeder now when migratory birds are coming back. Last year, in May actually, we saw 2 female Baltimore orioles helping themselves to our suet blocks. But believe it or not, the quality of the suet that you give to your birds does really matter. Just a few days ago, I learned about a test that someone locally, David James, who lives in Sutton, did comparing 2 types of suet. I actually heard about this test from one of our distributors, our Canadian distributors, who makes premium suet called Mill Creek. This is actually what I use, and I'm out. I only have pure suet left, so I gotta go stock up. So here's what David did. He took a Mill Creek suet, and then he took a regular mass-produced suet. He cut them into 2, and he placed both of them in the same tray in our Squirrel Buster suet feeder. And here are the results. As we can see, birds prefer Mill Creek because it has better ingredients. It doesn't have any fillers. I guess it just tastes better to them. David has also been trying different types of Mill Creek suet and different types of mass-produced suet, and the results are always the same. So if you live in Canada, please do check out Mill Creek suet. It's sold in many stores around you. And if you're in the US, again, check out Wild Birds Unlimited stores or any other nature stores that are around you. A lot of them have websites. Read what kind of ingredients their suet blocks have. Jonathan came across this picture on the internet, and a lot of people were saying that this bird wasn't dead, but rather sleeping. He couldn't find any concrete facts, so he wrote to Dr. Bird asking what exactly was happening in this situation.
Hi, Jonathan. A most interesting question you've posed. When I first saw the internet photos of snowy owls and barred owls apparently lying down while napping, I felt the same as you. They must be doctored somehow. So I contacted one of my former graduate students, Jim Duncan, who has gone on to become one of the world's authorities on owls, to see what he thinks about these so-called sleeping owls. And here's what he said. Young owls often rest or sleep while lying on their bellies. If they're perched on a branch or at the edge of the nest, they sometimes let their heads drop down lower than their feet, so it looks like they're lying down. Jim has personally observed this with young long-eared owls and young great gray owls. He did add that incubating or brooding female adult owls do sleep lying down, but their heads are typically upright or possibly tucked in. Jim further said that he has no personal experiences with ground nesting owls like snowies, but he did think the photograph of the snowy owl chick lying down, asleep, looks legit.
Having grown up in the Soviet Union with food shortages all the time, my parents had no choice but to have a vegetable garden. And not just a little vegetable garden, a huge garden. The land was given to us by the state. So I spent all my summers as a child working on the garden. So you can imagine I absolutely hated it. And I still remember telling myself, when I grow up, I am not going to break my back doing this. And I was doing all right until this year. With all this strange situation that we're in, we're starting to realize that growing our own vegetables and being self-sustainable is not only healthy for us, it will not only save us money, but it will also reduce carbon footprints in our neighborhood, and it will actually help save our planet. And it's also another activity to do with our eldest son. So if you're looking for some projects, please consider growing just a few vegetables, a few herbs. It will make a huge difference for the planet and for your own health. Oh, and thank you, Warren Otto, for sending me these wonderful books on gardening earlier this year. They are really handy right now. Well, I hope you enjoyed the first batch of Steve Swearingen's photos. We received over 30 emails naming the birds. There were 5 correct answers, and we picked randomly 3 people who are gonna receive a Squirrel Buster bird feeder. But first, let's check the right names of the birds. I'm actually gonna read this out because I haven't met them all in person. So, number 1 is the painted bunting. Number 2 is red-eye vireo. Number 3 is great kiskadee. Number 4, and that's where a lot of people made mistakes, is an orchard oriole. Number 5 is black-capped vireo. And number 6 is LeConte sparrow. And now the winners. It's Ruby Hopper, Deborah Rains, and Nyala Punis. Congratulations, everybody. Now, the next batch of Steve Swearingen's pictures, there are 6 of them again. This time, we're going to make it a little bit more difficult. We will send the Squirrel Buster bird feeder to the first 3 who submit the right names of the birds. Good luck, everyone. Despite all the chaos and lockdowns caused by COVID-19, New Zealand is working really hard to preserve its endangered bird species. While some bird species are enjoying all the empty spaces, others are still very critically endangered. There are only 250 tuturators or shore plovers left in the world, and unfortunately, a captive breeding program is not an option for them because juveniles become really violent towards each other in captivity. So 5 of those juveniles are now being flown on an empty passenger plane to a predator-free island just off the coast of Wellington. Here, the birds should have enough space not to feel threatened by each other, and hopefully they will start a successful shore plover colony. New Zealand has been in lockdown for several weeks, so arranging a flight like this was a calculated risk. Only 1 human accompanied the birds to the island, and all the social distancing measures were respected. 10 years ago, the Deepwater Horizon oil rig spilled an estimated of 210 million gallons of crude oil into the Gulf of Mexico. The spill continued for months and had a huge impact on the Gulf coastline. One of the most affected areas was Queen Bess Island in Louisiana. This island happens to be one of the largest breeding areas for brown pelicans, and unfortunately, then it got totally covered in oil. The brown pelican was added to the Endangered Species Act in 1970 after they were almost completely wiped out. Huge conservation efforts had been made since, and in 2009, the pelican was removed off the list. Queen Bess Island and another island close by are a breeding area for 70% of brown pelicans in the United States. So since 2010, the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries has been working closely with British Petrol to clean up the island and return it to a healthy nesting area. This year marks the first year of the island being open to brown pelicans, and to everyone's relief, they are back. Well, goodbye for now. If you're participating in our photo contest, please don't forget to write the names of the birds, especially on this photo contest. All those sparrows are not so easy to ID, and good luck with the Brown Bird ID Challenge. I'll see you in 2 weeks.